choices you make, whether it be college, whether it be a marriage, whether it be a job, and you find out by doing that. But I think things work out when you know who you are and you're true to being yourself. And that's kind of how I look at all of it, and not to water down the sanctity of marriage, but everything's a learning lesson. And I think if you learn from areas that you're deficient in and you make a change, I think things work out. I think things work out. And you need to be centered. You need to know who you are. First thing, you need to know who you are before you can ever make a commitment to someone else. And I mean down to its basic, not just I think I know who I am. You have to really know and not try and hide the defaults. You need to know those and recognize them. And when you do, they're not...
The defaults being maybe you have a short temper, maybe you take things too seriously, maybe you take, it's how you react to things, or maybe your personality. But I think once you can know those and know what triggers those, that you can handle it. And it just makes you a better person. No, exactly. So, okay, cool, then you did remember. Remember, what was the process of preparation for the sacrament of marriage for you?
I know it also asked,
Where do you
how
see
did you meet?
Yeah.
I remember it asked that. I mean,
okay.
yeah, you didn't think I read them?
No, I know.
Are you testing me?
No, I just wanted to see which ones you remembered. So
You can't test a school teacher.
Yeah, I'm a teacher. I test her all the time.
Yes.
So how would you meet? How would you know you should get married? How can someone know when to marry someone else? I know that's like rapid fire, but that's
Okay.
the first
Kind
one.
of went through how do you know?
Yeah.
And I don't mean that to take that lightly, but even when you think you know, it may not work out. You may not know for sure. What do we ever know for certain? It goes back to that question. We don't. We just have to be our best selves to that. And when you talk about, I mean, I know it asks you about, there was a question about, I don't remember how religion plays a part in that. But as corny as that sounds, and going back to something very fundamental, that we all have the Holy Spirit in us. And when we have that, we're better people when we acknowledge that, when we know that. And I can look at you, and I can look at you, and know that you're all, my husband Mike, who's not a Catholic, he still has the Holy Spirit, and I can see that in him in good times, bad times, wonderful times, dark times, it doesn't matter. But it is the real truth. That is, to me, the basis of being a Catholic, being who you are, is recognizing that we all, every person you pass on the streets, have the Holy Spirit in them.
Whether you believe it or not.
Whether you believe it or not.
Okay, for sure. Love the Holy Spirit. I don't have a Catholic background. You know that.
That's right. You
No,
don't. Look at, I'm with three.
my mom is, but I don't know.
Is that right?
Yeah,
Your father? No.
My dad, he used to use one, but with the things he's done, he doesn't go by the Bible.
Well,
Yeah.
I think Mr. Mason sitting over there is an atheist.
I am too.
But that's, okay, so listen, this is where, but he's one of the nicest, best, I've said this to you before, people I know, would never let you down, is not a liar in his life or a cheater in his life in terms of work or business. That's a stand-up person. So I always know that that's not the barometer of who a person is. It's just not. And I've always been like that.
best parts about being married? Like the fun parts?
The fun part, well, you always have a partner to do something with. You can go to a party and you don't, if you're feeling anxious, you can hang out with them, but if you're not, you can do your own thing, and then there's always, you've got somebody, honestly, somebody always has your back. But it's always like, you can make your own fun at the house, you can go out and have fun. It's just having somebody there that you're agreeable with, that you have a relationship with. And the stronger it is, I think, the better. I mean, we put in a garden this past week before we went up to Mammoth. We put a garden in together, and that's always fraught for an argument, like, no, I want it here, no, I want it there, and he's doing it. It's like, did you put enough good soil in, But when you get along and you kind of like each other, the number one thing about a relationship, it's not loving somebody, it's liking who they are and seeing their faults. One thing about Mike, I remember, I asked him, he was hot. God, you wouldn't think, he was a hot guy on the market. And I'm like, it's just me. And I asked him why. This is years, we were married a good 10 years. And here's what he said to me: that my mood never changed. And the second thing, most importantly, is I never tried to change him. And I think that's a real quality to have, is you've got to like that person and not want to change them. The minute you want to change them, it's a done deal. It's just a done deal. Because you have to, the core person, you have to like. And, we were friends for 2 years before we dated. I think I told you that. We met at UNLV. We were both working on our master's degree. And I had a study group, and he was in my study group. But I was already in a relationship with somebody, and I wasn't, he never, I could say I wasn't interested. I thought he was really nice, he was really fun, but that never occurred to me, because I had bigger fish to fry, because that relationship was not going well. So I'm just saying that we were friends for a couple of years. He felt differently. And when I told him I was single, I ran into him on and off, because small town circles cross all the time, particularly when it was small, and he's from here, I'm from here. So, it's just one of those things that I liked him as a person, we were friends, and I think that's a real core of a relationship, is that you like them before it was ever, and I don't mean like in, like I want to date him, like as a friend. But he had a lot of qualities that I thought was fun. And I set him up with a couple of my girlfriends. I've told you that. Yeah. Well, listen, I wasn't on the market, so I didn't care. And then I was, and when that happened, that was it. That was done. Yeah. But friendship.
Friendship. We love friendship. Other questions here. It's still recording, right?
Yeah.
But make sure, it might stop, because sometimes it stops at 15 minutes. What is it right now?
9 minutes. I'll make sure.
Okay.
Also, we have to do like an introduction, but we can do that then. There's like just a script.
What's the introduction? Oh.
He outlined it. It's fine, we can do that then. It's just
I can do that. There's only a couple more questions that we can go through, so we have a lot of sound bites. It's 6 minutes, right? It has to be.
Not like 4, 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
he said to use like half of the questions we asked about. But yeah, we can, it's fine. I'll figure it out.
Okay, and then I'm just to nosy on this. How did having children affect your marriage? No children.
Not together, but because Jenner, I was married before, right? And that was the relationship that was falling apart. So the thing about having children is probably, I hate to use this word, but the diciest thing that will test a marriage. Because I think everyone has their idea about when you have a child, how they're going to be raised, how you're going to discipline them, how you are going to agree, and that is where your marriage is tested greatly.